Rather lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are in the last 48 hours of the transfer window. It is closing, and trust me guys, you don't want to miss any second of the closure of the transfer window, especially if you're an Arsenal fan, because it is really interesting. Now, currently, Arsenal are working on two deals in our financial budget. We can't sign two players if those deals are not exceeding £50 million. So Arsenal are in talks to sign Mykhailo Modric at the moment. Talks are ongoing with Shakhtar Donetsk, and they're also in talks with Palmeiras to sign Danillo. They're not very easy deals. They're still very complicated. They're not very close to being completed, but I can confirm that Arsenal are chasing after those two names, and of course a couple of other players that are also onto our transfer list should those deals fail to happen. We are talking about Leicester City's Yuri Tielemans today, this morning, as it has been confirmed an offer has been sent in by a mysterious club. Now, we do not know whether this is Arsenal or Liverpool. Both clubs are being suspected of going underneath the radar to try to sign Yuri Tielemans. We do not know whether Leicester City will allow £19 million for the player. They've always wanted around 25 to 35 million. So we're still waiting to see and hear what Leicester City are going to say. And also Arsenal interested in signing Leandro Paredes. The rest for Leandro Paredes is on. Juventus are the club that are really very close to signing him. But of course, the absence of El Neni and Partey means that Arsenal need to go in the market and find another midfielder. Leandro Paredes from PSG is another player we are looking at. So there is a lot to discuss. Sit down, fasten your seatbelts, hit the like button. Let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. And in the comment section, how do you feel? I mean, it's interesting when your club does transfers early, but it's even interesting when you are in the market on the deadline day, in the last few hours of the market. So how do you feel, Arsenal fans? Are you excited? Are you anxious? Have you lost hope? Or are you very optimistic that we will get in those signings that we need to complete our squad? Remember, Mykhalo has already said it. He needs players to complete his squad. It is not complete yet. He needs to move on players. He's done that. And now it is time to fulfill the other part of the deal, which is bringing players that he wants in the club. Now, let us start off with the reports from Nicolo Shearer, confirming that Arsenal have agreed personal terms with Mykhailo Modric. Now, a deal until 2027 has been already agreed with the Ukrainian under 21 left winger. He has rejected an offer from Everton. Now, I will be happy to let you know that Everton were the first club to make an offer for Mykhailo Modric around 35 million euros. The player doesn't want to play for them. He has already turned down the opportunity to move to the Goodson Park. Look, if I'm Mykhailo Modric and there is Arsenal on the table, and there is Newcastle as well, and there is Southampton, I would definitely turn down Southampton and Everton. Everton are in a very bad situation. Of course, we know what's happening there. You don't want to go into that mess. So, according to Nicolo Shearer, a deal is moving closer and closer between Arsenal and Shakhtar, and it is in the right direction. Shakhtar do not want to stand in the way of Mykhailo Modric, who's already told them that he will be happy to move to a club in the names of Arsenal Football Club. He doesn't want them to agree a price with Everton. Interesting stuff in the last 48 hours, actually in the last 24 hours, because earlier on we were talking about Arsenal not affording a winger, and we were talking about Arsenal not signing two players. But now the midfield situation is a necessity. It looks like we're not giving up on signing a new winger. Personal terms, like I said, according to Nicolo Shearer, you can find him on his official Twitter handle on Twitter at Nicolo Shearer. Very brilliant journalist. He's been working very closely, with the transfer market this summer, and I think he's a brilliant journalist. He's really worked his way, up the recognition radar from last summer. Now this summer, I've followed him for 2 straight years, and I don't think he's the kind of journalist that just writes things to entice people. He writes things that he's well informed about, and he really publishes information that he's sure about. So he says currently the problem, or the last part of the deal, will be for Arsenal to agree with Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, that is not going to be very difficult. Shakhtar have already named their price. Arsenal and Shakhtar Donetsk do not have a big valuation, a big difference in valuation for the player. Will Arsenal want to pay around £20 million, around £25 million for the player? I think Shakhtar will be only 5 million ahead, or around 7 million ahead. So if Arsenal can structure a deal of 25 million pounds guaranteed payments plus another 5 million pounds in future add-ons, which should be paid across a period of time, then Shakhtar Donetsk, in my opinion, will not refuse that deal. Now, it is very, very difficult to say that this one is done, because there is a lot of competition in the deal, and we know Shakhtar might go for money rather than loyalty to the player. If they go for money, then I think this is where clubs like Newcastle come in, because Newcastle do have the money, and they have not spent a lot of it. They brought in Alexander Isak for 60 million, and maybe Steven Botman. So if Newcastle come in and throw the money on the table, that is where Arsenal are gonna have a problem. But currently, we are in the driving seat for Mykhailo Modric. A deal until 2027 has already been agreed. I tell you what, he doesn't have the experience players like Wilfried Zaha will bring, and players like and Pedro Neto. He doesn't have Premier League experience. He doesn't know anything about this new league. But I'm excited if Arsenal can get this deal done, because one of the things I hate is being anxious, is being nervous whenever we are short in numbers. And what Mykhailo Modric does is literally straight away, he gives us options. He gives us a deeper squad. Now, this week, we are playing midweek. Next week, we are playing midweek as well. Now, the days of playing 1 week one game per week, those days are over. So Mykhailo now knows, if you want to compete, and you want to compete favorably, it's difference. There is a difference between competing and competing with an ambition. I mean, last campaign, I think we were competing aimlessly. We competed for the top 3. We competed for the top 4. We competed for the top six aimlessly. Where it was to whoever it concerns, that is where we will be. But this season, we should compete with an aim. And to do that, you need a very strong squad. You need a very, very reliable squad. And that is why I think Mykhailo Modric is a necessity to this Arsenal side. Nicola Pepe has left now, so you need someone to come in there. So how many wide forwards do we have currently? It is only Marquinhos, Saka, and Gabriel Martinelli. I don't think Marquinhos is ready to have that kind of pressure put onto his shoulders. Yes, he's already 19. He's gonna turn into 20. He's gonna turn 20 very soon. But I think the pressure from Brazil to the Premier League, the pressure is too much. And of course, big credit to the likes of Gabriel Martinelli, who have come in and done it straight away, and just made themselves very important parts of this Arsenal side. But I think Mykhailo Modric is going to be a wonderful signing in terms of Arsenal having options. I don't think it walks straight into our starting lineup. This is something I wanted to say, because he doesn't even have that experience. Even at Shakhtar, he's not played as many games as 70, as 80 at Shakhtar Donetsk. So I don't think he walks straight into this Arsenal side. He might come in, replace Bukayo Saka for a while, because Saka needs some rest. So we might see him probably interchange positions with Bukayo Saka for some time. But I highly anticipate Bukayo Saka to keep his place in the team. I also highly anticipate Gabriel Martinelli to keep his place in the team, unless Mykhailo Modric is very, very exceptional, right? And look, I will remind you, and I will say this: Mikel Arteta has had most of his signings right rather than wrong. Apart from the Thomas Partey signing that has been derailed by injuries, the rest of Mikel Arteta's signings are actually doing well. If you think about Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Zinchenko, Gabriel Magalhaes, Benjamin White, Aaron Ramsdale, Martin Odegaard, they're doing well. They're absolutely doing well. So if he has chosen to go for Mykhailo Modric over Cody Gakpo, over Wilfried Zaha, over Yuri Tielemans, over Moussa Diaby, of course, there are options there that I'm thinking about. One, we have chosen to go for Mykhailo Modric because he's cheaper than anyone else in the market. Because I think if we're going to draw a line in terms of pricing, then in that 20 million category, in that 20 million region, it's only Mykhailo Modric. The other players, Cody Gakpo is 35, and then the other players, Yuri Tielemans 50, and upwards. So I think the financial situation has also forced us to go for Mykhailo Modric. And that's why I don't think Mikel is going to be 100% using him as a starter for Arsenal right away. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for him to, come in, develop, become that essential part of the squad. And probably later in the season, probably in the Europa League, that is when we shall see much of Mykhailo Modric. So that deal, personal terms already now are agreed. According to Nicolo Shearer, talks ongoing between Shakhtar and Arsenal. Now, it's not an easy one, with more sources in Ukraine confirming or claiming it might not be done this summer. So I'm not really saying Mykhailo Modric is an Arsenal player or he's Arsenal bound. What I'm trying to say is that he's agreed personal terms with Arsenal, rejected Everton, and now Arsenal have to find an agreement between them and Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, moving on, Saka has been speaking about his, I think in the evening, last evening, he was speaking about his future, and he said, "I share the same confidence with the manager, Mikel Arteta, on my future. I really feel loved here, and I would want to stay." Now, of course, Mikel and Saka were asked about the contract situation. What is happening? Why is it not breaking? And he said, currently, there are few things to be ironed out. There are few things to be done, but I share in the confidence of the manager that at any point in time, my contract will be signed, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to be an Arsenal player because I'm loved here at the Arsenal ground. Now, listen, I did think about this, but I mean, let's debate about it. Is this contract negotiation saga affecting the performances of Bukayo Saka? Because there's not been a change in the system. There's not been a change in, there's not been a big change in manpower and players around him. Nothing has changed. Why is Saka why is he falling behind? You would have expected, I mean, it really does happen. It's happening to Son now. He's done performing well, and the likes of Kulusevski and Son are doing well. But I'm only asking myself, this Arsenal squad is doing better than we were last campaign, and Saka was lifting us on our shoulders last campaign. So why is he not performing well? It could be it could be the contract saga, it could be the contract situation, because his future hangs in balance. Because Mikel spoke about it very well, and he said, I want this to get out of the way. I don't want my players to be distracted with transfer issues. He's not going to join Manchester City, that much we know. He's not going to join Liverpool this summer, that much we know. If Arsenal wanted to sell him, it is in excess of 80 million. No one is going to give us that amount of money. I'm 100% locked in. Saka is going to sign a new deal. Why is it happening? Why is it taking so long? Personally, I cannot explain that. But of course, Saka says he shares in the confidence of manager Mikel Arteta. A deal will be struck very, very soon. An agreement is closed for Saka to sign a new deal and stay at Arsenal Football Club. New deals are also being prepared for Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli, and a couple of other players. So let's wait and see what's going to happen out of there. Now, let's talk about Yuri Tielemans. So Peter Orok, again, another journalist that I've taken a long time without following, but I love him so much. He has been speaking about what Arsenal and Liverpool are trying to do with Yuri Tielemans, and he has said currently Leicester City have received a mysterious club's offer, £19 million for Yuri Tielemans. Now, the club has not yet been revealed. They're working under the radar, but the two clubs that we know are fighting for the signature of the player are Liverpool and Arsenal Football Club. Now, yesterday, Jurgen Klopp was speaking ahead of their clash, against Newcastle, and he said the midfielder we wanted has chosen another club, and that is Konrad Laimer, because Liverpool wanted to sign Konrad Laimer, but Laimer has 100% chosen to go to Bayern Munich. Whether that is going there as a free agent next summer or joining them this summer for a reported £30 million. So they want Konrad Laimer. Konrad Laimer does not want them. They also want Jude Bellingham, but Jude Bellingham is not available this summer. So they need to either chill and wait until next summer, which I think Jurgen Klopp doesn't want to do. He wants to bring in a new midfielder as soon as possible. Tielemans is the option available. So £19 million for Yuri Tielemans. A bid has been sent in. Leicester City are yet to react to that, guys. The only thing I've seen is that they're looking at Jeremy Boga from the Italian Serie A. He's a winger. That is what I've seen. So they're trying to do a couple of signings here and there. Yesterday we saw that they were interested in Amin Harit from Schalke 04 as well. So what is happening here is we are now in a panic situation. If I told you this, if another club makes an offer for Yuri Tielemans, Arsenal will lose this race, because Leicester City, first and foremost, would prefer to sell to another club rather than Arsenal right now, because we've wasted a lot of our time. And this is a deal that is that just needs a little sparking, that just needs a little triggering. The moment a club with a Liverpool or Newcastle or anyone sends in a bid and Leicester accept it, Yuri Tielemans will be on the move. He's already told them, I don't want to be here. So he has no reason to say, okay, I don't want to be here, but I don't want to go to this club. He's told them, I'm not going to be fully committed to the course that Leicester City are on. You better let me go. Now, my prayer is that Arsenal is one of the clubs that have sent in, is the club that has sent in that £19 million deal offer. Because if we have sent the deal, then I think we get it done. Fabrizio said it yesterday. If Arsenal make an offer for Yuri Tielemans, it happens. If Arsenal make an offer for Yuri Tielemans, it will happen. Most stories are flying in that the absence and the injury crisis in midfield will force Arsenal to go for Yuri Tielemans. We cannot confirm that here. But what I can confirm is that there is an offer on the table for Leicester City from either Arsenal or Liverpool, but most likely Liverpool, because we know how quick Liverpool are in the market, and we know how clinical they are when it comes to signing players. We are also in talks to sign a new, another midfielder, and that is Danillo from Palmeiras. We've talked about Danillo. We wanted to, according to Goal Brazil, Arsenal did send in an offer for around £20 million on Tuesday. Palmeiras do not have any intention to sell. They didn't sell in January. They don't want to sell this summer. Any club that want Danillo as their new midfielder will have to trigger his £100 million release clause. Now, that is where jokes come in, right? I think Mykhailo and Edu have been very, very smart throughout this transfer window. And if they can pull off Danillo and Mykhailo Modric, that's around £45 million for two brilliant talents. It will be absolutely magnificent. But if Palmeiras don't want to sell and you have to trigger the release clause of £100 million for Danillo, then we would rather walk away. We would definitely rather walk away. Brilliant. It's a brilliant talent. Brilliant midfielder. I think Brazilians will look at him as a replacement of Casemiro in the future, but he's not worth £100 million. Come on, for fuck's sake, £100 million gets me Ruben Neves with 6 years of experience in the Premier League. He's even fit to be my captain if I bring him in the side. So I'm not buying into any of that, BS that we are going to sign, Danillo for 100 million. But Goal Brazil confirm an offer from Arsenal was sent in on Tuesday. The course of direction of events is that it will be rejected. So the offer is expected to be rejected, but Arsenal are not giving up hope yet. And of course, we're also looking at Leandro Paredes. Now, if I'm not wrong, I've seen this story, but I also want to say that I've seen a story from Fabrizio Romano confirming that Leandro Paredes is very close to joining Juventus. Of course, he has been a priority for Juve for a very long time, unless Arsenal can try to lure him off the course by promising him Premier League football. Of course, we do not have UCL, so all we can offer that Juve cannot is EPL football. But Leandro Paredes is another player linked with Arsenal this morning. He would be a good addition, wouldn't he? He would be a very, very good addition because, look, the experience, the pedigree, and a person that has played at the top level in Europe. That is what we would be getting in signing Leandro Paredes. But of course, like I say, today is going to be a very hot day. I will be breaking every story that happens around this football club in the next 48 hours. Make sure you stay tuned. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Kosi Arsenal. TikTok, Kosi11. Of course, Instagram, Kosi_19. Facebook, Kosi's Arsenal Podcast. And on YouTube, Kosi90 More, Kosi Talks Football, and Kosi's Arsenal Podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Kosi and the Transfer News Show will be back very, very soon.